Everyone. So today I'm going to do some puzzles. I hope you'll enjoy it. Again, as usual, I'm going to first discuss about the position from white's point of view, black's point of view, and then we'll get into the puzzle. Okay, so first we'll start with position evaluation. So what kind of puzzles, what kind of position we have here? Uh, okay, so we are kind of in the maybe in the early end game or in the late middle game. So how is white doing? So if you just look at the number of material, yes, I think yeah, white has 3 pawns, black has 3 pawns, and then bishop for bishop, rook for rook, and then queen for queen. So material wise, it's kind of the same. Uh, what about the position of the pieces? Do we have any advantage? Okay, again, it's also looking very similar because queen and rook are actively attacking king's position. Black king. On the other hand, the black queen and rook is attacking the white king. Now it is about who is going to attack first and in a successful way, and bishop is there to defend the respective kings. And we have any pawn very advanced, so we don't have any passed pawns. We just have normal pawns, so we have connected pawns. In the queen side we have 2 pawns. None of them are passed. This pawn has to go through this pawn, and this pawn has to go through this pawn, so they can stop each other. So not very interesting, but again, looks like a very active game. Like people have to players from both the sides have to attack the opponent very quickly to have a successful game. So right now I think black is kind of slightly ahead in the attack maybe. uh, so the last move is rook check. Now it's white to move, so we are on the white side. We have to find the best move for white. Okay, so we have rook check. So the moves which comes to my mind very immediately is, okay, just block the check with the bishop, or maybe just block the check with the rook. So yeah, what happens if I just block the check with the bishop? Probably black is going to just take it, right? And we're just going to lose the piece. Even if rook takes rook, queen is going to take the rook. So this is a very bad idea, and I think same goes for rook coming and blocking the check, because rook takes, bishop takes, queen takes. So it's bad, completely bad. So it's not a good idea to block the check. And probably the other option is just king h2. If we go king h2, yeah, so we're not losing the bishop because queen is protecting the bishop. Oh, that's not an issue. We can easily go to king h2. After king h2, what black has to play? What can black play? Can black just come and, you know can rook just goes to f1, and then just spin the bishop, and then bishop can fall, but then king can come and protect the bishop. Yeah, right now this bishop is pinned. Bishop cannot go anywhere for any further checks, which is good. What is black really threatening? I also don't see a quick way to win this piece, because the king can come and guard this bishop soon. So what is the threat if king goes to h2? King h2, because this looks like a very silent move, because now it is white and it's a puzzle we have to play very actively, because there is something there in the puzzle for white to win or have a very good advantage over the position. King h2 doesn't sound like a good idea, but then what other choice we have? There is a check. We have to stop the check. We kind of discussed this is not a good move because the rook can just take it. Takes. And this doesn't look like a good idea. Takes, right? Takes. We are left with only this option, king h2, but that doesn't sound really great because right now white also doesn't have, it's not really threatening anything right now right away. We can't just make a silent move like this, king h2. After king h2 what? It's not clear. Or am I missing something with rook e1 or bishop e1? Rook e1, rook takes rook, bishop takes, queen takes, king h2. It's a very silent move. Then bishop can even check. This can lead to some trouble. Then queen can check, king again. White can be in trouble. I don't know what is this for white. Seriously. Maybe I'm missing something. So I think I'm just going to play it. Not sure. Let's see what happens. Um, we saw, okay, blocking the check doesn't do any good. So I'm just going to go king h2. Oh, that's the move. Okay. So it's trying to get this bishop, double attack. So the best way is, as we discussed, probably king is going to go to, g3, right? If you go to g3, this bishop can be protected, or we cannot just run away right now because running away is going to, give us a mate. At g2, queen just takes on g2, and it's going to be a mate. So we cannot just run away with our bishop. Can we protect this bishop by some other way? Right now, just the queen is protecting. It is hard for rook to protect the bishop. King can protect, but let's say king g3. How black can respond? How can black respond? Probably rook or queen check. If it is rook or queen check, then black cannot win the bishop. King can then just go back maybe, or is there is any other way? Can white do something here? Rook takes bishop, and then black king is kind of forced to take the rook back. What else? Bishop cannot give any check. Rook takes. Okay, I don't see any other move other than king g3. Let's just play king g3. Okay, that's not the move. It's wrong. So what other candidate moves we have? What other moves we can try? Think probably right now white maybe it doesn't have to care about this black bishop and then just go for the king. What can we do? Can we attack this black bishop some way using the queen? Because we can do a double attack. It's right now it's hard to attack the black bishop as well. And I don't also see any sacrifice right now for the white. What are we missing? We cannot move this black bishop also. It's very hard. What do we do here? Something like queen h4. No, like I mean, again, we are not protecting the bishop. It's very late actually. Queen h4, probably queen takes bishop. If queen runs away like this, mate is coming. That's a very late. Queen h4, queen h6. It's very late. Yeah, I'm just going to play some moves because I'm not sure what I should do. That's not the move. This is not the move. That's not the move. This is not the move. That is not the move. I have no idea what the move is. King g3 is not correct. What about just king g1? No, not king g1. King g1 will be like just going back and forth. Okay, I'm just going to view the solution. Oh, okay. I wanted to attack the bishop. I just thought about this position and this position. I completely forgot about this position. Because queen takes bishop is just mate. Like, queen is just controlling all these squares. King cannot escape. Wow. Just then see queen e7 because again king g3 is very passive, right? Just allowing for further checks and stuff. Given this the situation in the king side, why yeah, you should play something like this aggressively. You should make use of the spin. Nice puzzle. I learned something. Yeah, in puzzle we should remember that we don't want to play very passively. We have to play actively the side we are trying to play. That's good. Yeah, the spin is a very lethal pin. Yeah, it's hard to say because both the sides are actively attacking. So it's about who is going to make the first successful attack, and the game is going to favor that side. You have to be ahead in the attack, and we have to remember that counter attack is the best defense in some situations. So we should not be afraid of doing a counter attack. Okay, that's good. We'll go to the next puzzle. Just quickly um, analyzing the position of white. How good is white's position? Wow, the first thing which comes to my eyes is like what a beautiful pawn chain. All are protected, and finally bishop sitting on the top. Wow, I really love the pawn chain. Yes, white bishop is also sitting in an amazing diagonal. But anyway, I think that it's probably it's going to get exchanged soon, or maybe white can decide not to exchange with the bishop because it's the last move of black going, trying to exchange the white bishop. I really love the two bishops from the white side. They're really amazing. And then the pawn structure or the rest of the pawns, that's fine. This pawn is connected. This pawn is backward, so this is one of the weakness. Rook can attack this pawn easily, little easily, but this pawn is also kind of a lonely pawn, or like there is no other pawn nearby to support this pawn. So this pawn is also weak. If this pawn falls, probably white can push these pawns, and then this pawn will no longer be a weakness because right now this is a backward pawn. It's just a small weakness. And in the queen side, yeah, we have two pawns, nothing much. Piece activity wise, yes, these two bishops are amazing. This rook can do a little better. Right now it's just protecting this pawn, but this white rook can go to b1 and it can take over the file, b file. Queen right now it looks a little passive. White will at some point will try to activate the queen, um, maybe by queen b4 or something, and try to get some play. Yeah, this diagonal for black is very weak. So luckily black has a white bishop, so it's good. Otherwise, if white just has the white bishop, if black doesn't have it, white can easily make use of this, white diagonal. This white diagonal is very weak for black because there is white doesn't have f7 pawn anymore, and this is a double pawn, which doesn't look great. I think piece wise, I think white is doing really great because it has a lot of pawns, right? And oh, okay, white is actually an exchange down because black has two rooks, white only has one rook, one bishop, one bishop. For a black rook, white actually has a bishop and maybe one pawn, I guess. Yes, no, two pawns basically. So I think this is a very good compensation for white, for a rook, bishop, and two pawns, especially in the middle game. I think it may not be very favorable for white to exchange pieces, but then if pieces stay on the board for some time, if white can successfully make an attack, I think the game is going to be really, really favorable for white. given the superior position of the bishop, uh, and also these pawns can start moving maybe a little later, or this can is going to be huge pressure for white. I think it'll be really nice if white can hold on to this white bishop and then somehow make a successful attack. So black has to be a little careful, maybe try to exchange the pieces like it is trying to do right now. Exchange some of the pieces and maybe if possible win few pawns, because I don't know, maybe black is going to lose this pawn soon maybe. So black has to play a little carefully, because the position looks very very great uh, for white right now. I don't know what are the weaknesses for white, which black can exploit right away. Right now, I think black has to play little defensively. Okay, so getting into the puzzle. So this is the last move. So probably black is trying to exchange the bishops. So what can white do here? I mean, this square for black white bishop will be really great, to be honest. But right now, it cannot do anything. So this looks like a double attack, right? But then if bishop takes, and if we take the bishop, queen takes, and bishop can take the rook. Wow, this idea looks good. I like this double attack. Just pawn going to e6, isn't it? Or black has any other move, because black cannot be very passive, or it has to make a decision because rook is falling. If rook comes to f6, because if pawn takes bishop, rook can take bishop, but then again pawn can take rook. Wow, this looks really strong. E6 looks really strong. If you have any other better move for white, I don't see any. All other moves, they look good, but then it's not really threatening black right away. Maybe those are good moves, but then over time it can be really strong. But right now, I think e6 is very good. Do you have any other tactics going on? Do you have any other candidate moves? I don't see any right now. Right now, this looks very good. Okay, I'm just going to play e6 just because of the double attack. And I think black doesn't have a way to escape this. If bishop takes, as I mentioned before, bishop takes, right? If queen takes this bishop, then bishop takes rook with a check. Then pieces will be equal, but then the white will be little superior with maybe few pawns extra, like 2 pawns extra, maybe 1 pawn extra. Yeah, is that enough? Maybe it is enough. 1 pawn extra. Or do we have any other strong moves from white side? I don't see anything right now. Okay, let's play e6. It's fine. Yes, that's the move. Oops, that's the mistake. It's not directly bishop takes rook. Oh yes, if I take this rook, king is gonna take it back, right? But I can take this rook, so I get to keep my bishop. Wow, that's nice. See, the advanced pawn can be very dangerous. It is anyway, even if not, bishop going to d7. I think this pawn should have created some trouble for the black. It's not easy to play some an advanced pawn, because you have to put all your resources to defend that particular pawn from queening. And so that can be a very good strategy for white. What white can do is just push that pawn, and black will be using all its resources to defend that particular pawn. And what white can do is at some point it can just give up that pawn and then start quickly diverting all its forces to some other attack. As like maybe suddenly it can start attacking the king to divert king side. So then in that position black may not be in time to defend those attacks. So this is a very common strategy in chess. where you keep attacking a certain point. When the opponent tries to defend the area actively, you change your attacking position or attacking spot. It might be hard for your opponent to suddenly come back and defend some other part of the territory. It's great. Let's go to the next puzzle. Okay, quickly analyzing the position for black. Okay, so king is kind of safe, no issues. Uh, okay, the bishop is very active, eyeing the king side of the board. So I'll reelect the bishop. With respect to pawns, yes, this is an isolated pawn, and this pawn is connected. These are the connected pawn, so it's fine. The position is kind of the pawn structure wise. The position is very symmetrical, right? Not very, yeah. The pawns haven't moved yet, but uh, pawn structure wise, the position is symmetrical. I don't think pawn structure wise it's very favorable to one position over the other. It's okay. Piece wise, it's kind of the position looks little bit openish. So I think I prefer the bishop little better than the knights. Um, Otherwise, wow, it's amazing to see rook reaching the second rank. The rooks are always special, if it can if it can successfully reach second rank or the seventh rank, because it can just start collecting all the pawns or make some threats for the king. So it's always a good idea to not allow your opponent's rook to come and sit on your second or seventh rank, because it can be really problematic. And if the opponent can somehow can double the rooks in second or seventh rank, it's going to be really problematic. So it's good to avoid that. But it's nice this rook can somehow reach the second rank. I think the with some connection with the other rook, I think White just tried to uh, cut off the connection between these two rooks. Now this rook has to be a little careful because it no longer has the connection with the other rook. So now king can actually take the rook. So now we have to be a little careful about this rook. Probably the rook can just take the pawn. It can keep collecting the pawn. Actually, it's not a very bad position, I would say, for black. But then right now I might be I like the position of black a little better just because of these reasons. A good bishop and a rook in the second rank. Okay, so as I mentioned, the white knight has just gone back just to stop this connection. So what can black do here? Do we have any interesting move here for black? Okay, so this connection is gone. So how about just queen going to c2? So that we can attack the g2 pawn. I like that. I feel like something more can happen. Oh, okay, I see. Rook can actually just take this knight, because if pawn takes knight, queen is going to come and mate. Oh, see what a rook in second rank can do. Suddenly you have a lot of ideas, lot of options, basically. And this is such a bad move because now the knight is falling. I don't see any way. Wow, because the bank rank. Oh, there might be a bank rank mate. Because if rook takes knight, queen e8 check. What can black do? If bishop takes queen, then rook takes bishop, then it's a mate. It is also a worry right now. It's a problem. So we cannot just play rook takes knight. Black has to worry about the bank rack mate as well. So this was a problem. So probably at some point maybe black will play something like h6 or g6, just to stop these bank rack mates. Okay, so queen rook takes knight is not a possibility here, just because of queen e8. We cannot stop this. The rook cannot just come back because queen will just take the rook. It's again mate. Do you have any other possibility? What about just queen takes pawn? Knight is just going to take it. or even king is going to take it. There's no point sacrificing. Rook check. Rook is going to just take it. Bishop takes rook. Rook takes rook. Nothing much. I really want to bring the queen actually to c2. That looks little bit reasonable, right? Because check, king goes here. Another annoying problem is this knight is guarding the pawn, so it's not easy to mate. So knight is a very good defensive piece for for you. If you want to protect your king, probably it's good to have knight around your king. It can act as a very good defensive piece. I think I feel personally feel more than the bishop, because bishop can just cover up only one color. It's either like dark square or a white square, but knight can protect both dark and white square. So that's really great. You can maneuver your knight a little bit to protect your king in different ways. So I feel personally, I feel knight is better in terms of defense, defending your own king. Okay, what else black can do? So right now, the candidate move which I really like is queen c2. We already saw queen takes h2, rook takes f3. We didn't like both of that. What else do we have? Queen c2. Okay, what's the problem with queen c2? This is a threat. Can he just play rook e2? I don't think rook t2 works, because rook takes rooks. Queen takes, right? So that is not going to work. He cannot even come actually rook e2, because this rook will fall. Ooh, is this an issue? Because if I play queen c2, what if he plays, you know, rook c1? Maybe check, king goes here, and queen has to somehow run away somewhere. Then if rook comes here, I don't know. I'm seeing, if there is any possibility of a bank rank mate. Will queen c2 just lead to some bank rank mate, at some point in the future? Or we can safely do something else. Not sure. Black really has to right now worry about its bank rank mate, and this pawn might be falling. If this pawn falls, it might be a headache actually for black, because losing this pawn means this isolated pawn, although it's isolated now, it's like a passed pawn. Like there is nobody's nothing, really no other pawn stopping this pawn, so it is very free to go. So this might be a big headache for black. What to do here? I don't see any good move compared to queen c2. Can we just attack the queen? I don't know. The queen is just going to take the pawn. Do we have any other attacking moves? I have no idea. King is just going to take the rook. There's not an option, because again, back rack mate. Okay, I don't see any move. I'm just going to play queen c2. At least there is some threat. Other moves, other candidate moves, other possible moves I checked. I don't find anything interesting. Or how about this rook takes knight? Is it going somewhere? Okay, let's say pawn takes rook. Do we have anything here? There is no check also immediately, which is annoying. I don't see anything. I think given a game, I probably would have just played this. Although this is lit up bit of a worry though. Okay, let's just go queen c2. I don't know what else to do. Okay, that's not the move I expected. I think I'm just going to play out some moves, which I don't know whether it's good, because these moves like this are not good. These looks very passive. We have to actively go for an attack. These moves look very passive. What do we have? Queen c4, no. Queen c4, because there is nothing actually. The rook is defending very well. What do we do here? This is also not going to work. What? It worked? Oh, this rook can actually come back. Queen cannot just take it because the other rook is protecting. Oh my god, I just missed it. By just playing rook takes knight, the connection is back between these rooks. I can just go back. Earlier I thought this is going to be a mate, but it's not. Wow. How can we proceed here? Why is queen just going to e5? I don't understand. Okay, right. It has to stop the mate, right? Because white wants to play pawn takes rook, and then it wants to stop this mate. So queen is trying to come and stop the mate. Right now, white is threatening pawn takes. I don't understand because right now I can just play queen takes queen. If at all, if rook takes queen, this is going to be a mate, right? Because this is going to force the other rook to take. So probably what's going to happen is after queen takes queen, rook takes queen, and then pawn takes rook. No, sorry, queen takes queen. Instead of rook takes queen, it's just going to be pawn takes rook, because white is not in time to collect the queen. Otherwise, mate is coming. Bank rack mate. Yes. Nice puzzle. Let's move on to the next one. I think I'm going to do two more puzzles. Wow. White is threatening a mate. Okay, just looking at the just going to quickly look at the position. What is favorable, whether white is good or black is good. Yes, just piece wise, you can clearly see, white is really doing great here, because it has a completely, free pawn. It's just running. There's nobody stopping. Right, this pawn is amazing, and then white has an extra rook as well. And yeah, king, three pawns. I think white is doing really great. Black wise, there is a bank rank issue, bank rank mate, you know, coming. Black has to worry about that, and yeah, and black also has to worry about the spawn. And there's also a rook down. So I think black should be really happy if it can somehow force a draw by, let's say, perpetual check. Perpetual check is like giving continuous check, so that the game cannot proceed, and then the game will be considered as a draw. So black has to do something like that, or it has, oh, okay, maybe, I don't know, this mid coming, it has to somehow stop, because these things doesn't matter right now, because black has to really solve the bank rank issue right now. So okay, I really like white's position, but this is the last move. uh, Queen to c7. I don't understand why white didn't play this. First of all, I don't understand. This should be made right away. I don't know why this was last move for white. See. Okay, sorry, there was a bishop here. Now it makes sense. Now mate is coming. So how black can stop, or how you know can black play better here? So we have to play for black. Or do we have any mating sequence here? Okay, let's say queen check, queen g2. So white king cannot go any of these squares, not here as well because of the pawn. King can go here, and we can continue with the check. Is this check is done? Like then king cannot go anywhere. I think then it's checkmate. Queen check, king here, then the queen check. This is unstoppable, right? Wow, that's really sad for white. Yeah, I think white also has to be a little careful, right? Because you're so advanced and the check can come, and you should also be a little bit careful about your king safety. Right now, white is doing great, but I think here the safety is the issue. White king is a little unsafe. Probably white should have waited a little bit before advancing all these pawns in a king. Maybe probably white should just try to exchange his queen and then go. White can really have a very safe endgame, easily winning endgame. Let's go. Yes, that's the move. Okay, let's go to the final puzzle of the day. Quickly analyzing the position, I think so. Black pawns are just scattered everywhere. Not a great sign. They are not connected, so the rooks have to actively guard these pawns if they're under attack. Um, so piecewise, yeah, two rooks, and then three, four white pawns, just three black pawns. So I think white is doing a little better. And the pawns are also kind of, although it's a double pawn, it's fine. The main thing is they're connected, so it's good. And piece activity wise, yeah, this rook is good. uh yeah, this rook is kind of now uh was protecting this pawn. So one good thing about black is this pawn is going to promote soon. So white has to be a little careful stopping this pawn. Otherwise, yeah, so this pawn also can run soon, but then this is little late. So this is the real threat. The game is going to go around, this particular pawn, I guess. um, so overall position wise, white is doing okay, although I'm not sure how active these rooks are active, I would say. um, yeah, so white black rook, this rook is very active. This might be a little passive, guarding this rook right now, although it's not under attack right now. But I think the game changing thing will be probably this pawn, this particular pawn, because white has to do something to stop this pawn. This can be an issue, we don't know. So white just played this move, um, g4. So what black can do? So what's the issue with just pushing the pawn? Because it's the only trump card for black. If it has to create something immediate, because if black starts to play very passively, if it tries to just push the game, it's not going to end well for black, because it is already a pawn down, and these other pawns can fall because they're totally disconnected. So, and this pawn is also running soon, so probably black is slightly ahead, so it has to make use of this pawn and it should start pushing. So what's wrong with c2? C2, probably rook can come and defend, or sorry, attack the pawn from behind. What black can do is maybe first put the rook on c8 and then try to push the pawn, because rook coming to c8, and that nobody can stop the pawn going to c2, because rook cannot come to b2 or d2 whenever the pawn is in c3. So then once the pawn goes to c2, then the rook has to attack the pawns only from the sideways. And if two pawns are defending this pawn, I think white can never win this pawn. The only way to push the pawn further from c2 is for this rook to somehow check the king. Probably that's also the reason why I think white maybe played uh, g3, sorry, g4, because white can go and hide behind this pawn. There is no check from this rook, because the rook has to give a check, right? It doesn't even have to give a check. because once the pawn goes to c2, the rooks cannot even actually come easily to the last rank to stop the rook from coming. The rook has to actually go and sit in the square, which white rooks are not in time. So I think the best I would say is not to push the pawn right away, because the black rook can come behind. If black rook comes behind successfully, then white black rook has to give a check and then promote, which may not be possible, because if black comes here, if 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 white rook comes behind. Okay, I think if we play c2, and if white rook comes behind, we can actually give a check. Ooh, I think we don't even have to play rook c8, I guess. Play c2 directly. What's the issue? Yeah, king can actually go and hide. Then if we play something, rook anyway cannot come down. Rook cannot come behind also. No, it's actually an issue. If rook comes behind, it's actually an issue, because c2, rook coming behind. If I go and give a check, king will take. Then if I promote, rook will take. So we should not allow the rook coming behind. So I think first rook c8, then c2, play the rook away, and then promote. Rook anywhere, right? This will be a mistake. Rook coming behind. If the rook goes anywhere, the pawn will fall. Is rook e2 going to help? No, because at some point we have to push. And I don't know. Is the rook going to stop? Yeah, maybe rook can come here. If this happens, rook takes the pawn. Rook takes pawn, and this rook can take the other rook. Okay, whatever it is, I don't see it good. Let me play rook c8. Wow, that's not the move. Which means somehow this is working. See, it is working. Rook e2. Oh, okay. Actually, even if the king tries to come behind, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Should I play rook e2 here? Rook e2. Rook e2, bishop e2. I don't know. Rook e2, bishop e2. Then my rooks are. This rook is kind of stuck. It cannot go anywhere. Even check is not going to work. Because pawn promote. If I promote, rook takes rook, and this rook is going to take the other rook. How is this going to work? Check is not possible, right? King takes, then pawn cannot promote because other rook is there. This rook is stuck defending this pawn, which means I have to play rook e2 to free this rook. So rook e2 I think is the move, and what white can do, because these two squares are covered. I mean, the rook cannot come here. This rook cannot come here. So rook e2, I think probably it's rook b2, right? Then if I play it away, then rook can just take the pawn. If I give check, king can come, take it. Phew. If I promote, yeah, rook takes. Oh, we don't even win a rook for that pawn. What do we do here? I think I'm missing something. Wow, probably just attack the other rook. I was just looking for checks. How about just attacking the other rook? Because if rook takes rook, we get a queen. If rook takes pawn, we get a rook. Wow, wow. I never knew this trick. Because in rook endgames, I end up with just one rook. I never knew this trick. I always know about checking the king. Wow, this is so good. Wow, yes, that's the move. Wow, I really enjoyed the last puzzle. I really learned something new, some new idea. I hope you all enjoyed. I will see you again on another day with a set of five other puzzles, with some interesting puzzles. Have a good day. See you all soon in another episode of Chess Puzzle Blood Hunt. Have a great day.